Tyro. Tyro.
This, right? How many of us don't want our kids to come to a place like this? Okay. How many of you guys have daughters? Okay. How many of you guys want your daughter to marry a guy like you right now? Raise your hand. One. You would want your daughter to marry a guy just like you right now. Because I guarantee you, your daughter is going to marry a guy just like you. That thing! Right? And we know that. But a lot of times we forget because we fall asleep. We can't fall asleep when we're dads. We can't fall asleep when we're husbands. We can't fall asleep when we're brothers. And that's what it's all about, is the brotherhood of Tyro Alumni Community. You guys are now in that alumni community. You have to hold each other accountable on the yard when you're walking. Hey Tyro, what are you doing? That's what this is about, right? When I'm messing up whatever, Jeremy checks me, and when Jeremy's messing up, I check him. So you see that face mask on there, right? That's shield, Tyro dads. You got to put on that full armor because the world is coming at you and it's coming at your family. The world came at me, the world came at my brother, and the world came at my mom. When my dad got locked up, my mom tells this story that it was probably, I don't even know, like 3 days after he got locked up. Guess who was knocking on the door? One of my dad's friends. Hey, Kathy, I heard Ron went to prison. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you want me to come in? Are you okay? My mom didn't even let him in. She's like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? She recognized it, right? Women are not dumb. They can see how guys see them. Right? And so she's watching him like, what are you doing? Ron just went to prison, you're already knocking on my door. So she checked in, she called him out. And then she called my dad. And then my dad, I don't know what happened, but sure he wasn't happy. Right? So it's like, man, our families are out there. We were out there, vulnerable and unprotected.
But this is
right? And so one of the things my kids will do, and I'm going to tell a couple stories. And like this is that moment where it's like, whoa, my world stopped, and I had no idea what to feel. Right? My entire life, from 2 to now I'm 13, my dad's going to be at home. I'm no longer going to have to be told, hey, stop hugging. You can't sit on your dad's lap. No longer is that going to be our experience, right? And so we were just talking too on the way here, and when we would be in an afternoon visit, and they would do count, and they would have count going, and then if they miscounted, what did we get? We got a longer visit, right? And I was like, man, I totally forgot about that. So every time they would do count, we were always, please, please, please don't find everybody, right? So, I'm just kidding, Morton. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, okay, I'm gonna have my dad home. What is this gonna look like? So all of these, everything is just like numb at this point. One of the biggest stomach punches you'll ever get. And so I'm sitting there and we're looking at my dad and my mom's looking at him, and we have people calling us. Go down to Mexico, you got family in Mexico, get up to Canada, this isn't right? Get out of the country, this isn't fair. So then, going back 6 months, when that Justice and Mercy hearing was going on, the judge went to my dad, and so this was the moment that the judge asked my dad, Ron, I understand that over the past 11 and a half years, you have maintained your innocence of what you were convicted of, but I also know that you were not living a very good life before you got locked up. So what have you learned in the past 11 and a half years that would cause me to release you back into my community? So this is that moment where my dad's got his speech and he's ready to sell himself and why he's so great, right? And he pushes that aside and he says, Your Honor, in the past 11 and a half years, I have learned that the world can take everything from you. It can take your house, it can take your car, it can take your clothes, it can take your sunglasses, it can take anything you want, anything that you have. But the one thing the world cannot take from you is your word. And I want to instill that into my two boys. 15 minutes later, he's walking out. So now back to the moment of the phone call. And so now we're sitting there, and we're looking at my dad. My brother and I are sitting. So, and the entire time my dad came home, I was thinking, man, I get to have a birthday with my dad at home. A real celebration, a real cake, a real everything. And then I felt like, man, that was robbed from me. And I felt like because I hoped for it, that's why it was taken from me. It's like, man, if I hope for something good, it's gone. Why would I hope for something? And so I'm laying there and I'm just screaming at God and screaming at my dad, just screaming at everybody that would listen to me scream. As a 13-year-old little boy. And so at that moment, that's when I really decided, you know what, I'm done feeling, I'm done hoping, take my heart out, step on it. There is no point to feel like this. I would much rather be indifferent to everything, put on a mask and make people think I'm happy for it. Right? I'll get good at drums and I'll make friends that way. I'll make tons of girlfriends and all the other things that come with being a musician and attractive. So then fast forward back now to when I'm 17 years old, my dad comes home, right? I'm broken, I'm hurt, and I'm thinking, man, I don't need you. I've been doing this 17 years without you. What makes you think that you coming home now is gonna fix it all? Right? But the one thing that my dad did not do was he did not push himself into my life. Right? He was like, okay, son, I'm here if you need me. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so our relationship became what? Hey, how are you? Good. Okay, see you later. Hey, how are you? Good. See you later. Right? That's not a real relationship. And so he recognized that I had to come to the door and open it. See the Matrix with Neo, right? I can only lead you to the door, but you gotta open it. And so he's like, yeah, let's do breakfast. And so in that moment, he allowed me to say all of the things that I wanted to say, that I needed to say, of the pain that I experienced, and how I became the problem by default in society. You know, it wasn't that I was just the son of an inmate, right? It was that I was the son of an inmate that was labeled an SO. So it's like there was so many different variables to my family story. And it wasn't even that I was a son of an inmate that was labeled an SO. I was a son of an inmate that was labeled an SO, and my mom's family was the one fighting to put my dad in. And not to mention, I looked white, and I would hang out a lot with my Mexican side family. So I would show up, and I wouldn't even, they'd be like, who's this white kid? I'm brown too, everybody. You know, so there was a lot of different things that I had to navigate as a kid. And I'm grateful for the people that mentored me and came into my life to help me be able to be up here, share my story with you guys, and still laugh. And you guys are still laughing. Right? Because our stories are not over. As long as we have breath in our lungs, Alex, your story is not over. Right? And that's to live and hold each other accountable with that camaraderie, right? And take ownership of your story. You guys seen the movie 8 Mile? Okay, so you never seen 8 Mile? Yeah. Well, there's a part in that at the end. I'm gonna ruin it for you. I'm so sorry. So there's a part of that movie where Eminem has that rap duel, right? And so he grabs the mic and he tells everything about it, all the good, the bad, the ugly, blah, spits it all up.
I know everything he's got to say against me. I am white. I am a bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom.
And then after he gets done talking about how he's white trash and trailer and all the things that he says, now tell these people something about me they don't know. Don't already know. Give him the mic, drops, whatever. Yeah, I couldn't say anything. He took the fight out of him by owning his story. And that's what you guys have to do. That's what I have done. I've owned my story. So when people talk about my family, and they're like, did you know that Ron and Kathy, blah, 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 did you know that Brandon did blah, blah, blah? It's like, yeah, he talks about it. He cries about it on stage. It's like, oh, well, did you hear? It's like, what else are they going to say? It's like, they're looking stupid now, right? We have to own our story. We have to allow the things in our past to qualify us for our future by overcoming it, right? That's the key, is to overcome our past, to grasp and hold on to the future things. All right, so I'm going to let Greg come up and talk to you guys. Thanks for listening to me. I'm so excited.
Give it up for Brandon. Tyro is not a program. It's a lifestyle. I can introduce myself as Greg Washington, VP of Re-Entry in the City of Refuge. But I also can introduce myself as 5'11", I've been to prison. Alright, in 2001 I had a 20-year sentence for trafficking. For my first camp, I landed in Baldwin State Prison. Went to Macon State, my first camp. I was released. But I think God had a sense of humor, because He released me back to the west side of Atlanta, and I went to an organization called City of Refuge. I met a guy named Scott Hour while I was at Macon State Prison, because my second daughter was raised her first 4 years of her life in a visitation house. And I'll never forget this day. Falcons were playing, I'm having my visitation. My mother, my baby's mother there, my daughter's there. She's making her first little steps in visitation. And I remember her falling out in the floor at the end of the visit, because she realized that day we connected, I wasn't going home with her. And I promise it felt like somebody stabbed me in my heart. And I knew that day, I had a conversation with God. I said, if you let me out of here, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I already had an older daughter at the time. And I remember I went back to the dorm and I didn't speak to nobody for 2 weeks, because me and God having this audible conversation like, hey man, you gotta let me go. I'm gonna take care of my baby. I don't want that responsibility on nobody. So long story short, my sentence was 5 to 10 years. I paroled out at 5. And that same guy, that same guy in infantry ministry that met me brought me to City of Refuge. And all I wanted to do was to tell young people my story about not selling drugs, not destroying your community. That's all I wanted to do. But God told me while I was at Hancock State Prison that I would come back into the prison through the front gate. And I said no. I ran for that for almost a decade. In 2018, his parents was in Atlanta. They were doing a conference around re-entry. They came over to the City of Refuge, met our CEO and my mentor, my pastor, Bruce Deal. And at this time, I was a youth pastor, me and my wife. I worked with thousands of youth, got kids to college, whole 9 yards. I for almost 2 years. Now he's a lifer. And he like, man, I say, T, don't worry about it. I say, you gonna come out. I say, you gonna work for me. You gonna come back in the institution with me. And we gonna be the stream of hope for guys, especially guys that did these long stints. I say, that's my commitment to you. He was released on September the 20th, 2021, on my birthday. And he came to my house. In my living room. I knew then this was my guy. And I'll let him tell his story, but he's currently my case manager, because one thing we heard while we were at Metro, guys needed a place to go when they come out. Listen, man, when you do 20, 25 years, 20 plus years, you don't, and you don't really want to go back to some family members. I tell people you might don't even need to go. So if you really take a Tyro serious, when we tell you in workshop 8, you write down 25 people that you know. If you show me the 25 people that you know, I can tell you exactly where you're going. Because if these are not people that are taking you somewhere to the next level, you need to cut them off. You need to cut them off before you even get there. So this is what we teach. Hey man, you got to cut some of those folks out, because some of those folks are going to take you right back to what you know. So we've been, since 2018, reaching back, and now we have a housing program. We have 31 one-bedroom units. If you originally from Atlanta, we were able to preserve some history. We were able to preserve the Danzig Motel. It was one of 3 places during the Civil Rights Movement where blacks could stay safe. When City Refuge got the property, City of Atlanta wanted to pay us to tear it down. But once we figured out it had such rich history, we were blessed to be able to work with Home Depot and a few other big corporations. We did a $2.5 million renovation on it. That place housed men that are veterans, returning citizens, and 18 to 24-year-olds that we're trying to keep from coming in the system. Amen. That was my commitment to the guys when I first started in 2018 doing Tyro. I said, listen, man, I'm going to work everything to my power to be able to help men as they be released from prison. And I'm committed to that. So you taking Tyro here, we are already establishing what Brandon is saying. If you're coming back to the Metro Atlanta area, we want you to come to your Tyro community. We don't promise anything. It's all up to you. But what all I ask is, if I open the door for you, you don't owe me anything. Just leave the door open for the next one. Amen. Let Terrence come up because we saw it. For 2 years, this man walked me out the door until he walked out the door. And we did exactly what he put acid. He came, had lunch. I gave him his legend back. And everything he's doing right now, he got married. I did a premarital counseling. Look, I married you and everything. Okay, I got a good one of 16 years. It was one of the things that I did that I knew I needed to do. And that was to commit to one woman, because that was my issue. So once I corrected my issue, I stand before you. I don't have 3 wives. I only have 1. Well, I don't know. My youngest daughter thinks she's my wife, but she's in control.
When you do this plans right here, this declaration, make it a part of you. Because as you start saying this stuff day after day after day after day, it starts to change you, it starts to transform, right? You look up one day and you say, somebody gonna tell you, what's wrong with you? You aren't the same. It's because you're not the same. And watch me say it, it's not a program. This book, an addition to the book of life, because guess what? It will give you life. But you gotta take it serious. I used to take it all the time. You get from the Tyro. Because the Tyro acts a certain way. Be patient. Tyro is patient. I said, boy, I'm gonna know about the Tyro stuff. And then he called me one day and said, you got your license? But call me to get your license. Yeah, I got it. I ain't got the DMV. My daughter took me to send it to him. He said, can you get here by 4 o'clock? I got a truck waiting on you. But I had to live the life. Y'all know how y'all see people with no faith, right? If you're a real Tyro, it's going to show you. Tyro is reaching back. Y'all know what Crystal Moon is, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I met with her about 2 weeks ago, and she is helping us get our rights back, right? When you get out, it's a process, and so she is working with me. I just got some letters yesterday from the City of Refuge executive team to help me with my parole, getting off parole. Now you say, well, how you coming in here and you on parole? Cause see, y'all can see how dark and how bright that smile is. Right? Cause God don't play by me. Right? And as a Tyro, I had to listen to Mr. Washington tell me, I'm gonna read the blueprint. Just follow the steps. When he give you that blueprint, just follow the steps. I had the commissioner saying, yeah, we gonna sign off on you. Just you with Mr. Washington? I said, yeah, I'm with Mr. Washington. And God just started opening doors, so he opened the door first, right? And then y'all heard him say, you open the door, just leave it open to somebody else. So it's 4 men, including myself, that work at the City Refuge Transition Housing Center for me. Myself, another brother y'all might know, Banaka Owens, Willie Jackson, and Bruce Hodge. What? All of us lifers, right? All of us Tyro. All of us out, still reaching back up in the rest of y'all. And that's what we do. So I'm gonna stop right there because somebody else got something to say, but listen, man, take it serious. Think you gonna work your way up out of here? Nah, you ain't. Every become part of your life, it ain't working. What y'all know they pay you to do what I do? For real. I get a check to do what I do. To teach class, come on, Tyro facilitator. You know, sometimes I go to places I say, how you doing, my name is Parents Franklin, and I create success stories. They say, you can do that. I create success stories because if you follow the blueprint, you'll be a success. Right? It's real now. So thank y'all, man.
I'm incredibly grateful. I work for Brandon. I've actually worked for Brandon for 10 years, so I know what it's been like over the last half months. We also have hundreds of videos and we create blog things. We say, tell your family to go to tyro.blog with free resources to help you guys make your families successful. We have videos, free video resources on those JPEG tablets, and we create them to help you.
So the one thing that we experience is our dad was fighting the break that was robber girls, right? Back to the point where I'm wrong, right? But we got to a point where we got like that. Especially my brother. My brother had upon himself, I got him into the house and all over the day, so his childhood was a problem. But my dad would write letters, constantly writing letters, and he would never write back, never even talk about them, never even acknowledge them or anything like that, right? So as far as my mom knew, he was throwing them away. And as far as my dad knew, he was throwing them away, right? And I didn't even know, I didn't care. But when there came a point where my brother was completely broken, and he shares this story, I'm not going to share it. But there came a point where he was done. You know what, I'm going to commit suicide, this is too tough, whatever, right? And the only thing that prevented him from doing that was those letters. He had a box of them. So he tells the story, he pulled out the box, under the bed, opened it up, started reading all the letters. And that's what stopped me. Right? And so my encouragement to you is, even though you're doing everything that you can and you're not seeing that box that's under their bed, right? But it's there, I guarantee you, it's there. And for everybody, right? It's like our kids are being told, you cannot be proud of your parents. Look where they are. Look who they are. Look what they did. All the different things, right? So my brother and I had this experience. So when it came to us, or when it got close to our turn, why not? And so then we got home. because he wouldn't cry, he wouldn't feel any of that type of stuff, and he felt it, but he didn't express it, he expressed it. And so, for our kids, for your daughter and your son, it's like all of that pressure has been on them for how many years? And so it's like, for them to come to this spot where it's like, okay, Dad, I'll let you in, right? It's so painful that it's breaking. Tyro. So all you can do is write. Fill that box. Well, anyways, on that note, any other questions?
I have a statement.
Yeah.
Not a question. My daughter won't be there. I don't mind running. That's not quick. But I definitely won't put down.
You never told me you never had a fight, now you're in trouble.
Thank you, guys.
Alright, we'll do one last question.
Mine is
My first time to cry. I think it's a benefit to sharing the testimony as a child. As a parent, I'll be able to speak to your kids. Just hearing someone's child, talk about what they do. As a parent, we really don't know. And assume one thing that we know what you guys do, but hearing you speak, we really don't know. We have to be patient, like you said, that the dad never forced himself into your circle. You have to be patient. He was always there. So I think it's a benefit to come in here and present that perspective, that side as a child. Take us, man, and fathers, because it makes us wake up.
This last one. And you guys continue to thank you, Tyro. And this camp, that represents Tyro. And I keep
it's done.
let's do the best we can.
One of the things that I got to meet with Warren before we came here, and one of the things that I told him was, I want to support him like crazy. Whatever his goals are for this facility, I want him to reach those goals and then some, right? Because as a Tyro, how we measure success, and I think I was talking to you about this, how we measure success is when we're helping somebody else out, they become better than us. And one of the things that Gordon was talking about was when guys get out and they got all these resources and someone's like, man, they're doing better than I am, right? And it's like, that's how we measure success. When we as facilitators go in, when Mr. Brown goes in and he's facilitating the class, his job is to make you better than him. And when you guys are out in the yard, your job is to make everybody better than you. Right? Because if you're pouring that positive energy out there, naturally what's going to come back? Positive energy. Right? Because you attract where you're at. You play in the mud, you're going to get dirty. Right? You run with dogs, you're going to catch fleas. Right? But if you run with people like Greg, people like Jeremy, people like Terrence, what are you going to catch? All right, thank you guys so much.
I'll spread it out. It's gonna go from dorm to dorm. We're gonna make this thing go statewide, y'all. Amen. But it's gonna start with y'all and spread it. Amen. We can come in here, we can talk about it, we can teach, but we need y'all with it, okay? Good. And I thank y'all for coming out.
Hey, we get made a part of it. We ain't no going to the room. We still.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out. Thank you, the Shane Ward, and Tabla, and each and every one who played a part in this here. When I spoke with Brandon, and what really slowed me on his vision was because one of the things that I always desire is for us to get better. And when we did start Ain't No Dorm, and I used to talk to Mr. Figaro about it, my goal was to change one dorm at a time. And for the ones who have taken the role as mentors, you are training these guys as role models. And not to stay in the same location, to take those guys in the same position you're in, train them, and put them into another dorm, and we change one dorm at a time. I'm crazy to believe it can happen. So when I'm still my support because I believe in change. And that's how we're going to change the prison setting and the mindset of these people and things going on. That's how the world's going to see it's a change going on inside. They don't feel bad about it, taking a chance on the ones who've been in for a long time because they're going to see the results of it. So continue, live up those roles, models, and mentorship, live up to that so you can be an example of someone and we can change. We can't just say, oh, they ain't our problem. Oh yes, it's our problem. Everybody's problem until we make change happen inside. So thank you guys. Thank you all for coming.
Warden of the Year.
Warden G. Sampson.
Say one that I can't stop out and say. You know, when Jackson came to me, what the hell you talking about? Well, I'm gonna find out. But I'm gonna say one thing. I'm sold. I'm glad I came and listened to you guys. And I'm a firm believer that it will work. Hell, I'm free, but I'm motivated now. And to be honest, these groups, I work with a lot of these guys already, and it's a good group right here. And I know they willing to make new change. So I appreciate you guys, appreciate what you do, appreciate what you're going to do. And I got to get you down here, man, and talk to some about young knuckleheads.
Can I say?
Okay, yeah.
I am totally sold. I knew nothing about Tyro before. How long have you been here in Kendall?
Since 2012.
And I never saw any expression or emotion.
Tyro isn't a program, it's a lifestyle.